So Shepherd Bushiri is a well-known man. He's a young man. From Wikipedia, I've gathered that he's around 42 years old. Yeah, that's what Wikipedia says. He's not a very old man, but he's a kind of a person who is a charismatic. And he's a man of God. He's got his own ministry, his church. He began that church while here in Malawi some years back. So he's got this pull, this magnetic pull of the people. A lot of people, they do love him. A lot of people, they do care for him. Because when he was beginning his ministry, I remember during that time, I used to stay in Mzuzu. It's in the northern region of Malawi, and his church was also close to where I was staying. I was living in Katoto, and his church was somewhere close to there. And I used to hear a lot about him from a long time ago, and he was quite young back then. But still, even though he still had this pull for the people, he had this magnetic attraction. I failed to understand what it is because I've never been to his church. I've never been attracted to it as such, but I know a lot of people know him. And during that time, people would come from all over Malawi, going to Mzuzu just to see this young man of God by the name of Prophet Shepherd Bushiri. So he's been in Malawi his whole youth until when at some point his church started growing, he started gaining some traction, and his name was making some headlines. He became very ambitious, and he attracted attention of the political elites in Malawi. And somehow during that time, some of the people, the politicians, were not for what he was doing, didn't like what he was doing. So he decided to leave Malawi and go to South Africa. So he went to South Africa back in the years, and when he was there, still, as I have said, that he had this attractive personality. He has got this magnetic pull to the people that I don't really understand, but people do follow him. I cannot classify him really as he's a good-looking person, but I can't really classify him as he's not very tall. His face structure is not very strong, but I cannot classify him as a book attractive person, a handsome person, but maybe it's in the innate characters of his being. It's in the inherent characters of his being. He's such a personable person. He's such a charismatic person. And those qualities that he has are what attracts people to himself. So that is what I know so far about Prophet Shepherd Bushiri. And while in South Africa, he also amassed a lot of property. He also amassed a lot of wealth, and he really attracted a lot of people to his ministry. The ministry blew up, it grew, and while doing that, he attracted the attention of the political elites also in South Africa. A lot of people in South Africa knew him, and he was associated with some illicit behaviors quite there, allegedly, in South Africa. So because of that, he was charged of a crime in South Africa, and he was arrested. Yeah. And when he was arrested, at some point, he was granted a bail. And while posting bail, he skipped bail and he escaped South Africa, came back to his country, Malawi. And when that happened, really the South African government was baffled that how can a person escape from South Africa going to Malawi? And it is still a mystery up to now how Prophet Bushiri escaped South Africa to Malawi. But yeah, he's here. And while here, there is an agreement between the government of Malawi and South Africa, an extradition treaty, that if you are harboring a criminal, you have to extradite that criminal. So right now, they are hearing a case in the courts of Malawi to extradite Prophet Bushiri back to South Africa. Now, what also interesting thing that happened back then is that when he escaped South Africa, the Malawian president was visiting South Africa on a diplomatic duty. he had some diplomatic meeting with the South African government. And while he was coming back, his plane was detained at the South African airport. The plane of the Malawian president was detained at the South African airport because the government of South Africa was suspecting that the Malawian president was harboring Shepherd Bushiri in his presidential plane, which was quite unfortunate, really, for the South African government to really suspect that a diplomatic visitor is harboring a criminal, alleged criminal. Okay, so they detained the Malawian president for hours. He stayed at the South African airport, and it was very, very, very unfortunate. And a lot of Malawians witnessed this and were not happy about it. So it was very unfortunate for South Africa to do. But later on, the Malawian president was let go. He came back to Malawi, and it was discovered that he was not harboring Prophet Bushiri, but Prophet Bushiri had found his own way of escaping South Africa and coming back to Malawi. So, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, another thing is that he is really the kind of person, as I've said, that is attractive to a lot of people. And he's associated with the likes of Prophet Hubert Angel. If you know, Prophet Hubert Angel was involved in this also alleged gold smuggling scandal in Zimbabwe. And he was part of the documentary that was done on TV. If you can Google that, you would find it that Prophet Hubert Angel was involved in the gold smuggling scandal. So I don't know really that is he just Prophet Bushiri, is he just a man of God, or is he also involved in this kind of illicit behaviors that other prophets do or other people do, or is he also involved in the kind of business that Hubert Angel does and other people? Like just last week, there were a lot of people who came here in Malawi under the what he had organized, a men's conference, and so many people, they came here in Malawi, including Hubert Angel himself and other big names out there. They came here. So the question is, did they come here as men of God, or did they come here as business persons? Or are they only involved in church activities, or there are some other issues that are involved in? That question, we don't know. We don't know. But the truth is, this young man is capturing hearts. This young man is, and for Malawi, Prophet Bushiri is very beneficial. A lot of people like him. And he's quite good for the tourism of the country, religious tourism. Just like when there is crossover during the end of the year, his end of the year service, so many people come from all over the place. Other people come from Botswana, other people, they come from Namibia, from South Africa. I mean, even I think from overseas, they flock here to Malawi just to watch this young man doing his thing. So he's of benefit to Malawi because he's kind of like bringing some economic activity. He's stimulating the economy here in Malawi because of course already Malawi right now, we are struggling with our economy. Our productivity is not good. Our forex is depleted. We don't have enough forex cover. So when this young man is here in Malawi, he does attract that economic activity. Of course, there's a lot of foreign currency that comes in the informal sector, and some of it also, it goes to the formal sector. So thereby helping the Malawian economy. And other people, even they do visit tourist attraction places when they come to Malawi to visit this man of God. So as I've said, he's of so much benefit to the country of Malawi. And at this time, the case is still being heard in court. And there was a ruling that he should be extradited back to South Africa to be tried of all the cases that he's supposed to answer. In this case, there are about three charges against him. However, I understand that he has appealed to the High Courts of Malawi. So there is kind of like a stay order He will not be extradited immediately until his case is tried in the high courts of Malawi. I don't know how that is going to go about. It's a very emotional experience for a lot of people who are connected to him. I'm not connected to him personally. I've never visited his church, but he's the name right now. He's trending right now. I was just watching his Instagram account, the way he was encouraging his people during this time, the way he was praising God for the ruling during this time, the bail that has been granted, the way he's really celebrating. And I can really understand why a lot of people like him, because he's sometimes a motivational speaker. He looks at life from a positive perspective. He's not a negative person. He looks at the positive in everything. You could see him dancing. You could see him celebrating in spite of everything that he is going through. So he's the kind of example that you can have whenever you are going through maybe hardships in life. What kind of example are you going to follow? What kind of reaction are you going to have? Are you going to be sad? Will you be crying for yourself? What kind of reaction do you give whenever you are going through the hard time? So that is one thing that I've learned from Prophet Bushiri, his reaction during this time when he is being tried to be extradited back to South Africa. Because believe you me, if Prophet Bushiri can be extradited back to South Africa, that will not be good for him. That will be the end of him. And I'm sure just from the reaction that the South African government gave to him while he was there, the treatment that he was given, and he was arrested, and all that persecution, he came back to Malawi. And I've mentioned also how the president of Malawi was detained at the airport in South Africa on suspicion that he was harboring a criminal. How can South African government do that? Arresting the whole president, detaining the whole president. What kind of diplomatic relations did they suppose they would keep by doing that? Do you treat your neighboring country like that? The entire president, detaining him at the airport for hours? I did not like that as a Malawian. To be honest, I did not like that. Of course, the South African people were suspecting that one minister that we have here in Malawi, who was a finance minister, he was also not a very tall man. They suspected him to be Shepherd Bushiri. But when they came in the plane, they examined that person, they realized that no, he wasn't even Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, he was somebody else. But it wasn't a good experience. So if they can have the ability to detain your whole president, what do you think they will do to this young man when he goes back to South Africa? That will be the end of this young man. It may even as well be the end of his life. It may be the end of this life. So Malawi right now is at a crossroads. Malawi right now is having a dilemma, because this is the son of your land. He's being tried for extradition, and if he's extradited back to South Africa, you know that you'll not possibly be treated well in the courts of South Africa. You know that perhaps this may be the end of his life. So it's quite an emotional. The whole balancing between emotions and the facts, is he really guilty of the cases that he's being tried against? Is he really involved in fraud? I don't know. But as I've said, he's involved with some people here, like the likes of Hubert Angel, who was involved in this gold smuggling scheme, allegedly. Okay? And he's made all this money. Is it only coming through church activities? What other business is he doing? Is he really involved in fraud? That is a very factual question that one can have. It's legitimate. You need to ask yourself, where is the money coming from? Is it all a blessing from God, or is he involved in something else? We don't know. We don't have evidence. So as much as emotion is involved here, the truth also should be told. He should also be held accountable for whatever actions that he has done. But apart from being held accountable, everything should be done in fairness. Everything should be done according to the law. And the question is, if he's extradited back to South Africa, will they treat him fairly? Will they treat him objectively? So that is the kind of dilemma that the Malawian government is in right now. They have to decide. The courts have to decide. The judge has to decide that what are we subjecting the son of the land to when we send him back to South Africa? What sort of destiny are we subjecting him to? Will he spend the rest of his life in prison while there? Will he be treated fairly? All that is something to think about here in Malawi. What should the country do? What should the courts do? Because we know for sure that if he's extradited to South Africa, he will not be treated right. The treatment that he would be given will be more and far above his crime itself, if ever he's got a crime. Okay? The treatment will be so severe because we know that just the evidence coming from how he was treated before when he was there, and also the evidence from how the South African government has been treating other people, maybe not necessarily the South African government, but South African people themselves. You talk about the cases of xenophobia, okay? How foreigners were being persecuted in South Africa. So you are talking about all that, and you know the mindset of the people, some of the people who are there, and you keep wondering, and this man, young man, okay? He's worthy, he's an asset to Malawi, he's an asset to Africa in general. A lot of people, they find some help in him. He does a lot of charitable work, people benefit. But of course, doing charitable work does not exempt you from answering to justice. So, if he is really involved in some alleged illicit behaviors, he has to answer to justice. But to what extent should he answer to justice? That's the question that I have right now. And that is the dilemma that we should all be struggling with. This is a kind of person that people love a lot. He's attractive to the people. A lot of people have got an emotional connection to him. And so people really come to Malawi. They flock to Malawi every time he organizes a conference, or if he organizes a seminar. People, they flock to Malawi. You can't find accommodation when Bushiri has got an activity here in Malawi. There is no way you can. Foreigners are all over the place. Okay, they come from South Africa. They come from Mozambique. They come from all over the place. Yeah, so he's a very big asset economically, religiously. He's a very good asset, and for Africa, for reputational sake, he's a very good asset also. At least in Africa, we will be known to have somebody worthy of mentioning, like a prophet. Okay, we had a prophet in other countries, like in Nigeria, there was TB Joshua. And in Malawi, we've got this son of the land also as a prophet. So you have to be thinking about the reputation, at least having a religious man, well known to the whole world. It's something that, of course, good repute. But if he's got a crime to answer, he has to answer for the crime. But to what extent should he answer that crime? So we really have to be realistic. I hope all the people who are involved in his crime, the judges, the courts, will fairly handle this matter. They will objectively handle this matter, looking at everything else, looking at the consequences that he's going to bear when he go back to South Africa, and looking at the fairness of those consequences. Will he get a fair treatment already, as I have said? So the courts should look at all that. If possible, probably if it's possible to hold him maybe in the prisons of Malawi, I would say that he should be held right here, and he should be tried right here, and he should be held right here, instead of extraditing back to South Africa, because already we know that that will be the end of him, and possibly that might also be the end of his life and the end of his wife's life. And one other thing that I would like to say, really, it wasn't in my plan to talk about this, but it's the character of Mary Bushiri, okay, the wife of Prophet Shepherd Bushiri. Her character really just amazes me, the way she's supporting her husband, okay? She's supporting her husband with her whole heart. She's supporting her husband with her whole life. She's really a woman, a lady to emulate. Okay, Mary Bushiri, the wife of Shepherd Bushiri. Is she Mary? I think that's her name. She's really someone that women should emulate, the kind of support. Because as women, we are called to support our husbands. Okay, that's our calling as women. That's the first calling that we have, is to support our husbands. Of course, career comes in, but career should come second. Actually, career should come third, because the first is our relationship with God, then is our support to our husband, then it's our parenting now, okay, comes third. Then other things like career should come maybe fourth on the list. So the kind of support that Mary Bushiri gives to the husband is so remarkable. She gives so much support. And when she's, I'm following them on Instagram, you just look at the dances that she's doing. You just look at the excitement that she saw. Sometimes maybe she could be going through a lot of pain, but she still shows up and she shows out completely, 100%. So if you are a woman, something that you should look out for, something that you should learn, something also that you can emulate. There are some good things in everything that somebody can learn, and this is one of the things that I've seen that you can learn from the wife of Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, the way she's supporting her husband during this time. Of course, this case also involves her. She's also in a trial together with her husband, but I just love the attitude of the wife of Shepherd Bushiri. I think her name is Mary Bushiri, but she's got a very good attitude, the way she's handling all this. Maybe when she goes back home, she cries. When she goes back home, she thinks about it, she prays about it, she's sad. But really, when she's out there in the crowd, she is encouraging everyone. The face that she was showing is a joyful face. I've seen all this on Instagram. Of course, I've never gone to their church, but this is the kind of attitude that someone should be emulating. Yeah, so friends, this is what I wanted to talk about. Being stuck between a rock and a hard place. This is where the country of Malawi is. We are stuck right here. We don't know what we should do right now. Prophet Shepherd Bushiri is a son of the land, but he's involved in this alleged crime. Should he be extradited back to South Africa? Should he be maintained in Malawi? We should not extradite him. What happens to the treaty that we have with South Africa? Should we respect it or not? What should be the conclusion of this matter? Okay, but for sure I know that this person is a charismatic person. This person really is a magnetic person. A lot of people love this man. And right now, it's a matter of fact and emotions. Malawi is stuck between a rock and a hard place. What to do? What to do? Comment in the comment section below, guys. What do you think about this matter? Is he really involved in the fraudulent activities? And if he's involved in fraudulent activities, should he be extradited back to South Africa? Or we should not extradite him back to South Africa? What do you think his end will be if we extradite him back to South Africa? What do you think his end will be if we maintain him back here in Malawi? Thank you so much, friends. May you please comment in the comment section below. I would like to hear from you what you think really about this matter of Prophet Shepherd Bushiri. Thank you so much.